Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger. I was just going through my email, and I got this 8 ways to sober up from being too high. And there's a video. I guess I can turn the sound down and we can watch this together. What to do if you're too high. Don't panic. Have some water and a light snack. She looks like she's ripped to the hilt. And was she high when she did her grocery shopping? Look at all the water bottles. Yeah. New York style pizza. And look, she spilled it all over herself. Look at the water. Look at the water. Or is that cold sweat?
No, it's coming out of her mouth, I think, right there.
Yeah, keep your consumption limits in mind, okay? Cheech and Chong, let's put that one back for when Snoop Dogg comes over. Sniff or chew on some black peppercorns. Really? Yeah, that's going to help. Do a fat line of some black pepper. Keep calm and rest. Or put your tracksuit on and go for a walk. Take a shower or bath. Don't forget those cucumbers over your eyelids. Find something to distract yourself. The horrors of the internet. Look up Tism Fuckus. Bonus tip, try some CBD. Yeah, that's going to help. We've all been there. You lit the perfect joint, took a deliciously expert timed dab, munched on an artisanable edible. Then all of a sudden, those fuzzy feelings feel prickly. Your laughter turns to panting and you're thinking, dude, am I dead? No, it's just a moment when you realize, damn, dog, I'm too high. Maybe that edible kicked in 3 hours late. Perhaps you tried to impress a group of friends by holding that bong rip a little too long. Uh-oh. You might have just tried concentrates for the first time and got caught off guard by their potency. Or maybe you're just a low-tolerance consumer. Lightweight. It can sneak up on you 1,000 ways, but once it does, the resulting experience may make you uncomfortable. It's sometimes enough to turn off even the most seasoned cannabis lover. Cannabis is not a lethal drug, and thankfully its effects dissipate well within a day. Here's how to come back from the edge of greening out. How long does it take you to sober up from weed? After smoking weed, how long your high lasts depends on a variety of factors. Consumption method, dosage, and unique individual variables that can vary from person to person, like tolerance, age, and metabolic rate. Typically, the higher potency of the cannabis product, read THC percent or milligram amount, the longer the high will last, although that may not be necessarily more intense. Concentrates are the most potent form of cannabis, with flower and edibles following behind. This could mean it could take you longer to sober up from dabs than smoking a bowl, but dosage and quality of the flower or wax and your body's chemistry all contribute to your experience. And I've never done a dab. I don't know. I thought that was a dance move that makes you look ridiculous and identifies you as a millennial. It's also important to note that the everyday smoker with a higher weed tolerance will sober up a lot faster than an occasional consumer who hits the party joint a couple of times. As our senior editor, Bruce Barcott, whoa, dude, Bruce, he previously reported new studies indicate that there is a window of impairment for cannabis across consumption methods of between 3 and 10 hours. Holy cow. But for most people, it's around 4 hours. Anecdotally speaking, the average cannabis high can last anywhere between 30 minutes to 2 hours at its peak. You can still experience lingering effects for a period of time after, and some highs have been known to last a lot longer. Thankfully, there's ways for you to come back down and sober up where you feel too high, overwhelmed, or uncomfortable from excessive cannabis consumption. Symptoms of being too high: if you know you're too high, you know. But if you're not sure how to figure out where the line to cross is, there are a few telltale signs to look out for. While we all love to have a good time, you may need to dial down your intake if you feel anxiety, nausea, dizziness, panic, paranoia, confusion, or excessive perspiration. Damn dog, I'm soaking wet. Do you think I should put this giant watermelon edible that I've been taking me 3 days to consume away, stop smoking pounds of dabs and injecting myself with pure liquid THC? No. What to do when your friend gets too high? Brought to you by Leafly. Reassure them with hugs or gentle touch. Get them into nature. And obviously here they're in some sort of a dense foliage of a jungle. Have them chew peppercorns. Chew. Chew, chew, chew those peppercorns. Chew, chew. Help them make a safe nest. What? Watch sitcoms with them? Comfort them in a calm voice. Dude, you're not dying. You're already dead. Keep them hydrated with a tall glass of Seagram's whiskey. And exhale. Remind them to breathe. Which I honestly, maybe not a shot of hard liquor, but something like a wine or a beer, like a 3, lower alcohol, I like to cup my wine with water. I think it's too strong. I cup my sweet red wine by a quarter up to a half of water and enjoy it that way. Or distract them. Give them a handful of flowers, and before you know it, what happens when you get too high? Even if it feels like you're dying, rest assured you're still very much alive. Remember, the high you get from marijuana comes from THC, which binds with our CB1 receptors and our endocannabinoid systems, most of which work in our brains. In short, it's mostly in your head. It's not possible to consume enough THC to die, nor does THC impact parts of the brain that could affect your breathing. THC's presence in our body systems can impart feelings of relaxation, sleepiness, hunger, euphoria, and clumsiness. But the sheer variety of strains and products make it hard to predict when a high becomes excessive. In rare cases, such as people who suffer cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, you may feel nauseous or dizzy, but thankfully, this too shall pass. Tips on how to sober up from weed fast. Don't panic. You could never go wrong with the infinite wisdom of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic, you're fine and everything is okay. Most of the symptoms of greening out or doing too much cannabis, which they just made that up, will dissipate within minutes to hours with no lasting effects beyond a little grogginess and a potentially empty refrigerator. Give it some time, these feelings will eventually pass, trust us. We must reiterate that contrary to what you may have heard, there have been 0 reported cannabis overdose deaths in the history of ever. So despite how freaked out you may feel or how sweaty you get, you won't expire from excessive consumption. Don't take that as a challenge. Just keep it in mind if you accidentally overdo it, and you'll be okay for a while. Try water and light snacks. To paraphrase Derek Zoolander, water is the essence of hydration, and hydration is the essence of sobering up. Whether you prefer water or juice, make sure you have a nice cold beverage on hand, preferably non-caffeinated. This will help you combat dry mouth and allows you to focus on a simple and familiar act, sipping and swallowing. Keep in mind that by hydrate, we don't mean knock back a few alcoholic beverages. If you're feeling the effects of your strain a little too aggressively, stay away from alcohol as it can increase THC blood concentrations. I do not agree with this. If you are zonked on some good weed, drinking a beer or two is going to make you relax. It's going to take the edge off of that overly high feeling. Which this happens when people who are not used to smoking weed smoke weed with people who are used to smoking weed, meaning people who have really good weed and they go, oh, hey, let's get high, and they keep passing the joint around and then laugh at you when you turn as white as a sheet. So if you're not a professional, the last time you got high was when you were in high school and now you're 35 years old with kids and you run into some young people imbibing at a party, you take half a hit. And because there's no shame in taking just a little bit and stepping away from it. There's no shame in that. You know, there really isn't. And trust me, with this new weed that's out there, half a hit is all that you need. Because typically with users who are not using all the time, it's going to take 20 minutes to a half hour for you to fully feel the effects of this pot. So if you sit there and keep smoking it and say, yeah, I don't really feel anything, well, about 10, 15 minutes later, you're going to feel like you're dying. And that's why they have to write this article, is because people are going to these dispensaries and purchasing this stuff, and they're flipping out. They're calling 911. They're legitimately thinking that they're going to die. Does eating after smoking weed sober you up? Some people find that a light snack helps to feel a little more grounded. Consider grazing on some fruits, nuts, or cheese, and if it's a little easier to connect with the mind and body. Some research suggests that our terpenes in our food, which are also abundant in cannabis, may help mitigate the consumer's high. Know your limits before consuming, and this is what I was talking about. If you can, try to prepare for your cannabis session according to your tolerance level. If you know that more than 2 puffs from a joint makes you anxious, or 10 milligram gummy glues you to the couch, don't push past your comfort zone. And with that edible thing, you need to really, really, really be careful, because it takes 3 or 4 hours for that stuff to do its magic. So if you took a 5 or a 10, don't double up on that shit because you don't feel it 2 hours in. You'll be in serious trouble 6 hours later. This likely won't help once you're already over the edge, but it can help you avoid an uncomfortable situation for next time. Consume with friends you trust and have smoked with before. Don't feel pressured to consume to their tolerance levels. That's an important thing. It's all well and good to make new friends, but being surrounded by strangers when you can't feel your face is unpleasant at best and anxiety-ridden at worst. Take it slow, especially when consuming edibles. We recommend trying a standard dose of 10 milligram or even 5 and waiting at least an hour, if not 2, before increasing your edibles dosage. And I can tell you, I ate probably a cup and a half of processed ditchweed, and passing that the next day tore me up, and it wasn't pleasant. When that shit finally kicked in, I was terrified. So if you're occasionally taking one hit off your personal vaporizer, don't sit in a smoking circle puffing and passing for an hour. Can you chew black peppercorns when you're too high? If you find yourself combating paranoia and anxiety, a simple household ingredient found in kitchens and restaurants everywhere can come to your rescue. Black pepper. Many swear by the black pepper trick, even Neil Young. Just chew or sniff on a few black peppercorns. It should provide almost instantaneous relief. While it hasn't been proven, many of the terpenes in black pepper also appear in numerous cannabis strains, which may contribute to its grounding effects. This is something I've never learned, and I'll be honest, I've been using Delta 8 here and there, and the thing with the Delta 8 is it wears off so quickly. But even with that, it's not, you never want to overdo it, It's not cheap either. If you can mitigate it and use it in smaller quantities, it's cheaper too. Keep calm and rest. And I'm not using it twice a month, at the most. Keep a calm, quiet place without a lot of stimuli where you can rest and breathe deeply. Remember, the intense discomfort you're feeling will pass. And it is intense discomfort. I've been there before. Take deep, full breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Focus on the sound of your breath and just rest a while. This used to never happen back in the day when weed was grown, when it was a black market thing. Now that it's been legal, they make it so unbelievably, ridiculously strong that this is happening all the time. So you just have to use your head. Sometimes sleeping it off can be the best alternative to trying to stop a strong high. It's not always easy to turn off your brain. Once you've found a little zen area, lie down and let yourself relax. If you feel drowsy or sleepy, take a little nap to rejuvenate yourself. You should be able to fall asleep. Just get comfortable enough until you feel strong enough to spring back up. You could try going for a walk. If you can't turn your brain off, sometimes a change of scenery will get some fresh air, and get your blood pumping to help invigorate you. Just remember to stay close to your immediate surroundings and bring a buddy. We don't want you wandering off and leaping off a bridge or tall building, getting lost while you're feeling anxious and paranoid. So refrain from taking a walk if you're too woozy or lightheaded to stand. Instead, we recommend option 5, lay down for a while. How much weed are these people smoking? You can't stand? Jeez, what's wrong with you? Have some self-respect. Take a shower or bath. Well, it's not always feasible. Yeah, how many rock and rollers did they find dead in the tub? We're going to skip past that one. Will showering take away my high? Unfortunately, scientists have yet to publish a study on showering's effect on stoned subjects. Anecdotal evidence and the science of showers indicate that yes, it will mellow your high. Distract yourself. We recommend that you could try watching a funny cartoon, listening to your favorite, put on Dark Side of the Moon, that's going to help. Play a video game. Play some Minecraft, there you go. Take your kids, talk to your friends who are hopefully right by your side reassuring you. Snuggle with your significant other. Try coloring as a calming activity. Seriously, adult coloring books are becoming all the rage lately. God, we're fucking doomed to hell, aren't we? Adult coloring books? Eat something delicious. Go on a supervised errand. Teacher, I'm too high. Can we go on an errand? Whatever distractions you prefer, make sure it's a familiar activity that gives you warm, fuzzy emotions. Your brain will hopefully zone in on the positive feelings and give you a gentle, how long is this? Sobering up from edibles. THC will pass through the liver during digestion, which enhances THC's longevity. So, yeah, you won't be able to manage it. You're going to need to take a long siesta or go to the emergency room. Sobering up from Delta 8. The isolation and subsequent popularization of hemp derived from Delta 8 THC has given producers and consumers new opportunities to play with weed, and that includes new possibilities for greening out. Fortunately, because of its different molecular structure, Delta 8 is nowhere near as intoxicating per milligram as Delta 9. Contributor Dante Jordan chronicled his personal experience with Delta 8 edibles for Leafly last year. He had a pretty good time blasting music and dancing around my Airbnb and punched out sentences that writer's block had been stifling. Delta 8 is often called diet weed because most consumers find it to be far less intense and therefore harder to overdo. Try some CBD to counter the effects of smoking too much weed. CBD is excellent anxiety fighting compound. So you can counteract the effect of THC by using CBD. Since the CBD doesn't bind to the brain's CB1 receptors like THC, it can balance and take the edge off the intensity of the high. Squeeze a lemon and help sober up. The tang of lemon might be just what you need to snap back up after getting too high. Slice a lemon and take a whiff of the citrusy fruit, then pucker up. The terpene limonene, found in citrus and many cannabis strains, has been studied for its anxiety-reducing effects. Take some ibuprofen. One study found that ibuprofen can counteract the effects of THC. If you have ibuprofen handy, you can try taking a safe dose, which would be 400 milligrams, with water and some food to help you come down from your high. I never heard that. See, we're learning. So my THC toolkit would be black pepper trick, followed by you're going to be thirsty after all that sneezing and wheezing. Get your terpene limonene, your lemon slice, and kick down a couple of 200 milligram ibuprofens. If all else fails and you still feel you are alarmingly uncomfortable, there's always that window you can leap out of. Tell the doctor or nurse you're having a cannabis-induced anxiety attack. This option is always available, and maybe they would give you a little blue pill to help bring you down. Because we all know that when you're really in trouble, nothing hits the spot like a benzo. All right, you guys, be safe. Take care of yourselves. Sorry this was so incredibly long. I had no idea this article was this big, but hey, hopefully we learned something. Take care of yourselves. Hug your pets. Try to stay cool, and peace.